Good evening, everyone. Live here in Tallinn, Estonia, day 2 at the Eurotour 8-Ball Predator Open. Talking you through this match, myself, Arya, and my esteemed colleague Eric, all the way from Toronto, Canada. Eric, good evening.
Good evening. Good to be with you guys again. Looking forward to a good match here. Loser's qualification. Loser goes home. Winner advances to the final 32. A couple lesser-known players. Maybe you're a little more familiar with them than I am, Arya.
I have to be honest with you, Eric. I tried to do some research on both players. What I found on Jokubas, who is now breaking, so he won the lag. He will be breaking twice, which is the format, 2 breaks per player. He's a young, up-and-coming talent. He's had a couple of quarterfinals, a couple of last 32s on the under 17 or 19 European Championships, so he has been knocking on the door. And as far as for his opponent, he's also been in and around the last 32, so both of them have a great chance here to go maybe a step further.
Yeah, if that first break is any indication of what his real level is, I mean, he hit that world class right there. Great spread, nothing near each other. He's open with solids here. Couple good players coming out of Lithuania now. P.S. Labudas heading up the charge for that country. Looks like Jokubas could be following in his steps.
Yeah, exactly, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. Although he has failed to pot that, and his cue ball, he's lost his cue ball. That's the worst scenario for professional pool players these days, Eric.
Yeah, looked like he was trying to run into the 14 there, missed the pocketing angle on the 1, so it changed how the cue ball was coming off the 1. But he had a great chance to open up with something positive here.
So what we've seen throughout this tournament in the other matches, and I don't know if you think about this subject the same, it is very important to convert your breaks, at least one of them, if you want to stay in contention of the match.
100%, and considering that to have a chance at winning the match, you have to assume you're going to break and run 50% of your breaks. So if you ever go down 2 breaks in a row in this 2-break format, it's big trouble for the overall match. And even losing the first 1 of 2 can put a little bit of pressure on you.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more there with you.
Saw a couple matches. Albin Ocean, I've done 2 of his matches. He was 5 out of 6 on the break as far as break and runs, and then the next match he was, I think, 5 out of 6 again. So just showing that those upper echelon world-class players are getting even closer to 75% on the break and runs.
Yeah, fair comment. Yeah, but this is also something you would expect, in the latter stages of a prestigious tournament. There are no easy draws.
Apalax looks like he has a little bit more of an unconventional style. Hand is kind of behind his elbow, real quick stroke.
So yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yeah. So without seeing either player play much, I'm going to put Jokubas at a small favorite here, but we got obviously plenty of match to go. Be an interesting one.
So it sounds you also put a lot of emphasis on good mechanics, good technique.
Yeah, it's what holds you up in the long run. I mean, any player whose technique is a little off can have one good match, but in the long run, that's what you're going to rely on. Especially the newer school players, the new generation of players. If you go 20 years back, kind of people just did things their own way, but getting into those Federer Gorse type fundamentals. Seems like that's what most of the very top players in the world are playing like today. Some form of that.
Yes, absolutely. Consistency is the key, isn't it?
For sure. Another successful break for Jakubas here. Let's open up with stripes. Not many problems with the stripes. 14 has to be played from a pretty small angle over on the right side of the table. But it is available on the bottom left if he chooses to move the cue ball that way. A little funny here. Pretty straight on the 10. Angle actually might be going a little bit to the right, which is not positive for any of the other stripes.
Yeah, he kind of babied the cue ball there. I thought he would have attacked it a bit more authority.
Still on the 13, but the cue ball's going to have a lot of energy here. Ideally, you'd like to play around the 15. Maybe even try to go back towards the 14 and get perfect on it. Would kind of alleviate that problem.
Yeah, his angle is rather thin on the 13. Try to come around the 15, as you said.
Yes, something on the 14, but I think he might still favor the 15 here.
Do you think the 14 passes the 15?
Yeah, not enough. It might be half pocket, which is very tough to target from when the object ball is that far from the pocket, and he's kind of on a not the proper angle to really see what part of the pocket he's shooting in. He can still go 15, 9, 14 here.
Yeah, he's lost his cue ball. Maybe, I think his last saving grace is maybe we can just clip off the edge of the 1 with a very delicate positional shot. Maybe he can still play shape on the 14. Other than that, it's always going to be very tough from this position. Yeah, so he did use the 1. And it was a good try, but I don't think he's got the putting angle here on the 14.
Yeah, almost got there, but you can see by his reaction, bit of emotion, knowing he doesn't have a shot directly in the corner here. I believe the 6 is even blocking the cross bank option, so tough spot now.
It's called a bank nonetheless, though.
Yeah. Cue ball, yeah, it does have room. At least the cue ball will be playing up table here. So
good attempt.
Yeah, a couple chances for Jakubas and a couple failed attempts. This left Cole is kind of funny here. Just gonna play safe. Jakubas looks like one of those players that just can't wait to get to the table. Kind of typical of some younger players, really amped up to go, and even when he's running out, seems like he's kind of just at a faster pace. Josh Fielder, when he first came to the scene, was like that.
Yeah, that is a good assessment. I like that. You're completely right.
Hi.
Second foul from Jakubas, and Les will be starting with the ball in hand here. Like starting with the 7. Most obvious pockets for the 7 aren't available.
Yeah, I thought he was going to put it. Yeah, right center would be more logical, just because you're moving towards the... Well, he alluded to his cueing and his mechanics. You know, there's no pause in his backswing. And that's one of the reasons he's completely butchered the shot, if you were completely honest.
Yeah, and when you have to time the ball well and kind of shoot those not even that that was an advanced shot, but it's the kind of shot where you got to get the cue ball rolling right away. You really want to time through the cue ball good. Keep the forward spin on the cue ball. You just kind of lost it there.
Yeah, I can't emphasize how important it is to have a pause on your backswing, and if you don't do that, you know, the consistency in shot making becomes ever so hard, combined with nerves, you know, match nerves, which is bound to happen for everyone, even for the best of them. Where's his cue? Thought his cue ball might have dropped, but actually, he might actually be still in this rack.
Yeah, he's left him tough again. That's 2 times that just kind of let the cue ball go, and it didn't end up in a really fortunate spot for Coles. Nice shot. Still not in perfect position here. It's got kind of a free shot on the 4, but the way you have to play position towards the 1, it's not actually free. Looks like he's thinking about safe again. I don't mind it. No need to take a extra chance here. Might have left the right edge, which could play him into the pocket, but he's going back to his jump cue.
Yeah, some of these top players, they make these jump shots look so easy, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those shots where it goes in on camera and you're just kind of almost half expected now, but go ahead and try it at home and see what your percentage is. It's not going to be very high. Good try there.
Yeah, so
it's
if he
okay on the 4.
Leaves himself a nice angle on the 2, there should not be really an issue to pot these last 3 balls.
Two rails back towards the 1 here.
That is way too short, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was actually playing the corner there, but he overran it. He's in between now. Decent recovery, slowing the cue ball down, but again, not perfect on the 8 here.
He needs to be careful, because if you overcut this, the cue ball might fly in the middle. He spotted it. Great shot. Look, it was a struggle, but somehow he has won both of the breaks on Jacobus his turn, so he gets the chance to extend his lead now.
Yeah, he does have some type of pocketing prowess. You can see it in that rack. Like, his pocketing is okay. We'll see how the match develops here. They had him listed at a 685 Fargo on AZ Billiards. Talking about Coles. Jacobas didn't actually have a Fargo listed. Good break there. 3 balls down. Wide open table. Again, no excuses not to run out here.
Exactly. A nice opening shot here on the 1. He can really swing his cue ball around just like that. Needs to avoid the 13 though. He's just created a problem for himself.
Yeah, and even as far as landing on any other solids decently, he's not there. It'd be tough to take the 3 now because the cue ball's playing so much towards the bottom left. Even if you draw it, I think you're going to get kind of stuck down at that area. No good.
Yeah, you can see even like an innocuous, easy positional shot right from the beginning could completely throw off your chances to run out the rack. All he had to do is make sure he didn't make contact with the other balls, and that little, let's say, careless positional shot could possibly cost him, you know?
Well, that's a great point, and 8-balls like that, when it's played well, it looks so easy, but the reality is you got to get the cue ball into small areas probably 3 or 4 times throughout the rack, and if your cue ball control isn't really on point, it's going to break down your runouts a lot. It's a little thin here. Might try to run into the 8. Oh, pardon me, he has the 13.
All in all, that's a pretty decent shot, you know?
Yeah, he has a chance to stay in the rack here. He can draw above the 8. He's going to have to consider how he wants to get on the 8.
Yeah.
But first order of business, I'll be getting this 9 down. The 8 might pass into the bottom right. Could actually run into it here too, try to develop it a bit.
Yeah, he's played his cue ball in an area, but obviously the 10 looks the more promising pot. That way he can also guarantee himself a nice angle on the 12 to go down for the 8. You know, with this angle, you want to play for the 8 in the middle, I think, because it's quite easy to punch it off the short rail. Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, only tough part about it is he's going to have to draw it a little bit. Nicely done. So looking to get his first game on the board here.
So another steal on the break.
Yeah, 3 steals in a row so far. We have 16 players through to the winners, or to the redraw portion of the tournament so far. Another 16 fighting to get into that stage right now. Nothing down this time, a bit more of a clustered rack. 3 balls bunching up near the 8. Table's fairly open except for the 7, 15, 12 cluster. I feel like the stripes play a little better into that cluster. You could go 11. Kind of tough to slow the cue ball down, but maybe 11 onto the 14. But looks like he's going to take stripes or solids here.
Yeah, I think he wasn't really comfortable with the opening shot here on the stripes.
Just don't really like how any of the solids play back into opening up the 7. You would think the 5 or the 6, but the 6 is kind of blocking the angle you'd want to be on the 5 to play the 5 in the bottom left, and then open up the 7.
I guess we'll find out within, let's say, 3 or 4 pots.
Yeah, if the 6 passes the 5, it's not that bad, because the 6 is right where you'd want to be on the 5, so if you got straight on the 6, you could be okay. But still, you're waiting to develop the breakout till very late in the rack, which is Usually a negative thing in 8-ball.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So basically he's literally running out of balls to create and develop these 7, which is his main concern right now. I think the 6 does pass the 5, you know. So probably that's his plan.
Yeah. He's actually got kind of the wrong angle on it where the cue ball's going to the rail. I mean, he can still develop it back to where he wants. But ideally, he would have wanted to have been straight on the 6 here.
Yeah, that's a solid shot. Still relies a bit on luck here. If we can get the other camera angle, I'm trying to see whether the 7. Yeah, so you think the 7 goes in the same pocket he wants to pot the 5?
I think
It's
if
tight,
you wanted to
isn't
get
it?
cute about it, yeah, you try to run into the top side of it, kind of. Yeah, there wasn't much you could do there. It just wasn't going to
Yeah,
develop.
that's the core reason I thought if the 7 was potable here in the, you know, the corner pocket where closest to his tip of this cue, you could have played a gentle nudge on the 12. Because the 7 and I believe it was, I don't know which stripe it was, but that was a combination. I think it was the 15.
It was, yeah.
So yeah, well, I didn't see him call it, but
I almost feel like he was playing safe, and that's a big no-no when your opponent has so many balls. He really had to just try to bank the 7 in there, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree.
So Kola's taking advantage of a few mistakes from Jakubas.
So many times you see players when they have a pretty easy out, they're almost like spoiled for choice, and they start to overthink shots. You know, just also look at what the table is presenting you, because every now and then you just, you know, you want to be too perfect with your cue ball, but that is actually complicating the shots. Just pot and make sure you leave yourself an angle. That should do the
That's
trick.
a good point to mention. Yeah, that's a good point to mention too, because both these players probably have a little less experience under the shot clock. And you know, if you were just to use, for example, a player like Albin, who's probably played, you know, hundreds and hundreds of time under shot clock conditions, particularly playing 8-ball, it's like if you don't make a plan very quickly, that shot clock can come into mind too.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's all been, well, no, it's one of the breaks of Ballas he has converted, so 3-1 the lead is. Look, Jakubas still got a good chance to draw level, but he needs to show up more, I think, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's playing the balls kind of quick. I mean, like, so at the beginning of that last rack, he took a long think about it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Nice even spread once again. Yeah. As you can see, the 5 is probably the only problem ball if you're going for the solids.
Yeah, nothing really near that 5-10 stack to open it up comfortably. So again, he has to, maybe the 5 passes in the bottom right from some angles. Like even this one here. But he's got to make a plan to develop that 5 quickly here. Do you think it's available if he gets kind of straight on it, or an angle kind of going towards the 4?
Yeah, I think if you're straight on it and with a bit of spin, side spin, you can, you know, just turn it in. But has he lost his position already on 4?
He has, yeah. It's too much angle here, and it's even a little too much angle to just go across 2 rails into the 7. He could come closer to the side pocket and then go back to the right side of the table to shoot the 7. But yeah, not where he wanted to be here.
Yeah, this game can really do crazy things to your mind, and you know, it has to be said, it seems like it's becoming a pattern where Yokubas runs out of position right in the latter part of his runs. So that also will mean that he's solved, you know, most of the traffic at the table for his opponent. And you know, we both know how frustrating that can be.
Have to hit this ball harder. Might be on the 11.
Yeah, I think he is comfortably on the
The
11.
10 on the side. Hasn't shifted his focus from the 10, so I think he is going to shoot it here. I just caught the right angle on the 10 where he was okay.
Oh, nearly lost his cue ball there. Yeah, he's got options here. Seems like 2 rails for the 8 in the right middle pocket. Oh, it's gone so far that it's going to be the 8 in the bottom right corner pocket. He's been quite fortunate because he made a mess of the positional shot there.
Yeah, could have ended up on top of the 8, but does get a shot, and 4-1 now. Looks like Kuvas is going to take a break here.
Well, on that note, I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be back with you shortly. So Yukuba's back at the table after he taking a timeout. A lot of work to be done here for Yokubas to get back in his match. You know, one thing is for sure, he's had several visits. Actually, every rack he's had a visit at the table. So really, there's still a lot of pool to be played if he can pick up his level, because he's had chances, and so far, you know, in the end part towards the end of the rack, his position has just abandoned him, and now he still has a chance to at least form some sort of a comeback. It's looking like he wants to take on the solids. I think the solids do offer a better pattern to clear the table. Obviously, the sooner he can solve the 6 that's congested with the 15 below, the easier this possible run out becomes. And so he's called the 7, which means he's trying to pot the 7 off the 6. If he does pull off the shot, he's solved the problem with the 6 immediately. And I tell you what, that was a great shot, and he's giving himself a great chance here to put one rack again on the board. Yeah, so really the key shot was the 7, which he managed to pot off the 6. Oh dear me, can you believe this? Yeah, I'm afraid at any level that is unforgivable. And he's done all the hard work there, and he's missed it. 8. And now Balázs out of nowhere gets the chance to extend his lead. You know, and the worst part of this all is it's all self-inflicted. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, look, Balázs is about to pot the 8 and go 5-1 up, but quite easily he could have been the one who's trailing 5-1, because Yokubas has had a visit at the table and a good chance to run the rack, each rack in this match that's been played so far. And you can see him stewing in his chair. It is the most loneliest place out in the world when you are just constantly punishing yourself and your chances, really, if you want to think about it that way. We do apologize that I think it seems like my dear colleague Eric is having some technical issues with his equipment, but he'll be back in the commentary booth shortly with me. Balash having to use his extension here. Yeah, this is quite a difficult table. But in a weird way, his only problem is the 2-ball. I don't know about this one though. But he's made light work of it. The problem remains, of course, the 2-ball. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how he tries to develop the 2 here, because again, he's running out of balls to do that. And I don't think he's got the angle here. And I think you can tell by his, well, I say that, I mean, if he's all out attack, he can try to pot this 7 in the left corner pocket, but I think he's called it in the middle. Yeah, I don't know how that will help his calls whatsoever.
Can you hear me now, are you?
I can hear you, but there is a bit of noise in the background.
Yeah. Yakubas back up at the table here. That's proceeding well through this rack, looking good to take down the second game of the match. Bit of a reversal of roles here in this rack. Hansavest was the one opening running the easier table this time.
Yeah, this match has so far been proving very frustrating for Jokubas. He's not enjoying his time out there. And, you know, has to be said, this is a brutal game. He's had a visit every single rack in this match. And he's had a great chance, actually, every single visit of this match. So, really, he needs to turn things around quickly. And also, he can't use Ballas getting to his stride here, because the 5-1 scoreline is very flattering, to say the least.
Yeah, just waiting for an update on the scoreline. It's actually 5-2 now. But Jokubas looking good to get his 6th game on the board here.
Needs to be delicate with his cue ball here. Look, playing position on the 8 won't be as straightforward as you would think. And there you go. Well, actually his cue ball, if the 15 would have dropped, would have been okay. Pretty decent. But, again, like we said before, Jokubas does get another visit at the table. I'm not saying it's fully without any issues on the table, but from where he was sitting, he should be happy to get another chance at the table. Wouldn't you agree?
Definitely, yeah. We were pegging Coles to have the run out there, and again, just a failed one. 6 has got to be taken care of here. Could power draw the 4 into the short, keep on the short rail here off the 4. I'm going to leave it too long. The 3 can play over to the 6 as well. I have to run into it here. Worst case is he does run into it and pushes the 6 just more towards the 15. I think just going at it with speed here is the best play. Try to get it away from that area. Possibly making the 15. There it is. Nice shot.
Yeah. Beautiful solution. You know, we've been in this situation before where we was about to say, look, there's no reason for him not to run out this rack, but considering the scoreline, we've said that on multiple occasions, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think if he can tidy up his putting and his cue ball, there is still a slight chance in this match for him. Also considering the fact that each player will get 2 breaks on their turn.
Yeah, Jakubas does something kind of weird with his back arm. He sets up with it inward towards his body, and when he actually hits the ball, he brings it more straight. Ronnie O'Sullivan actually does this a little bit. Not as much as he's doing. But watch here, he's angled in. When he hits the ball, he comes to straighter. Just kind of moves it outwards as he's hitting the ball.
Yeah, valid point. And also, his body is to the side of his cue. A lot of players, they stand pretty, let's say the boxing stance, or whether it's a southpaw or, you know, orthodox. But with him, his body is completely to the side of his cue, so he's, you know, he's tilted his hips a bit more. And it's interesting because you usually just see that on the break, not so much in regular play. But just goes to show you can play this game on your own way and on your own terms. All you need to do is make sure you put the ball on and play position on the next ball. But that is a dry break, and at the worst time possible for him, as he was just trying to close the gap. As you said, the scoreline was 5-2, so in fact it should be 5-3 right now. That needs to be updated.
Yeah, the reason why he's standing with his body so far off like that is because he's turning his front foot inwards. You typically want to stand with your front foot a little more pointed towards the shot. But just little things that'll develop in his game over time. Still young.
Make no mistake, he definitely tried to develop the 8 there. And he's failed doing so, and I thought that was a big target actually. Yeah, he's a bit snappy on his cueing, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got a lot of work left to do here. The 8 doesn't pass the 15. Had to open up the 2-6. Did well there. Let's see if the 6 passes past the 9. That didn't really give you any real indication if the 6 passes the 9, but the way he's playing the pattern, I would assume it must. Tough spot here. Could bank the 8, I guess. Yeah, real quick at the action. You're going to get more deflection on that. It's left him safe.
Yeah, that looked a bit wild, didn't it? However, he will get back to the table once more. But the biggest question is...
Go ahead.
The biggest question I was about to say is, in how much trouble will he be in?
Well, I was going to say that the safes aren't actually easier here. The 15's running into the 8, and the 8 would be the most obvious cover ball for the 6. Yeah, he had to do something creative there and did pretty well. Bit of a risk opening up the 8, but he really didn't have much other option. Looks like the 6 has about 3/4 pocket past the 15, but very tough to target a ball into not a full pocket from this distance.
Absolutely.
And he's going to go on the
Well,
other one.
meanwhile, the scoreline has been updated, so this is the accurate scoreline we're looking at. Yeah, I must say it doesn't, because I don't want it to come across that we are just, talking bad about his mechanics, but the players who have an unorthodox cueing, I just don't feel comfortable when they have to take on a very tough long pot, because it's specifically them type of shots that will find you out more often than not if your mechanics aren't solid.
Definitely, you have to cue the ball so perfectly over that distance, otherwise you're going to catch too much deflection and just not get into the proper contact point. Looking good here. So some positive things happening for Jakubas here. Was stuck 5-1 at one point, back to 5-4 now.
Yeah, definitely. This is something I also mentioned earlier. Although he is still behind, because he's had a visit at the table every single rack since the beginning of the match, it's not too late, you tend to think, because simply for the fact that he's always had a chance every single rack. So if he can just clean up his act, he could still run away as the winner here.
This will be his second of his 2 breaks. Has been hitting the break well. No reason he can't put a break and run together. Just a question of running the balls when they're there. Six ball's going to go down. Choice of the 13 or the 7 to start.
Yeah, this time around, not a real problem on the table. So whatever he chooses to pick for, he should be able to clear the table, you'd think.
Yeah, the 1 and the 2 are a little awkward for solids. I do like starting solids just because of where the 8 is. You can get onto the 4 pretty quickly here. It'll open up options for the 1 or the 2.
Yeah, so it seems like he's been trying to solve the solids at the top of the table, and now he's going to move gradually towards the bottom part of the table. Like you said, the 1 and the 2, they do need a bit of care and attention. And one of the biggest problems for Jakubas in this match has been, the end game. Every time he's come towards the latter part of the rack, something has gone wrong, most of the time positionally wise, resulting in a miss or an unforced error, but he's still in control here. Needs to be careful though. The 2, ideally you don't want it to run into the 4 as he's done there.
Yeah, a bit of nerves involved with this play too. It's probably one of the furthest he's been in a Eurotour event. It's understandable. But pocketing like that, I've been there before in spots where I really want to win, and it's just like you're not thinking as clearly as you would if you've been there before, type thing. Oles looking to stop the run from Jakubas here. It's in good position now. Nine's available to the bottom left. 13 will play well into that position. Let's move across table for the 8. Nicely done. And back to a 2-game lead now.
A solid clearance here by Balázs, and he gets the break twice again. Oh, he's taking a timeout. Worth noting, when a player calls a timeout, they get 5 minutes on the clock, and they have to be back in the arena at the table within the 5 minutes they have. So, for those who are watching, if you want to grab yourself a drink, now is the time.
We'll be right back to the conclusion of this match. And we're back here. It would be Coles to break for the next 2 racks, leading 6 games to 4. Ideally looking to break and run 1 of the 2. Break and runs have been at a premium in this match. Nothing down, and this is what Jakubas needed. Nothing easy on the opening shot here. 11's blocked in both the 14 and 15. Yeah, we just had the first break.
In all fairness, I was thinking maybe the rack wasn't as tight as usually is, because you know he didn't get a lot of movement in the balls after the break.
Yeah, I kind of saw that. It was a bit of a product of hitting it off square too, but I know what you mean. Great opener there. Let's open up the whole rack now. Great shot for Jakubas, and this is promising going forward in the match. Ideally wanted to be a little better on the 11 where he could have held for the 14. It looks like he might have a little problem doing that now. Still straight enough that he could hold for it. "14, 9, 12, 10 plays well here. He could leave the 9 till last, get it closer to the 8.
Yeah, I'd say 12, 10, and then 9.
Yeah, I like that. He's a flow player. He plays with a lot of talent. You can see it in his stroke. Just about refinement for him, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. But this has looked very solid, so this is, I think, his first break and run. What a time to do it. He's still got another break coming up. Oh.
Yeah, it was Coles broke that one, but it was a full table run out. Yeah, one more break for Coles coming here. And the match is getting a lot tighter than he would have wanted. So it would be a great time for him to pull out a first break and run on his end. A little unlucky with how the cue balls ended up here. He did hit it squarely and started the cue ball in the middle of the table, but it got kicked up table. It really doesn't have much for an open shot. Maybe the 4.
Yeah, again, the layout is not looking promising. Needs to come past the 10. I don't know if it's really value in developing the 6. It seems like he's going for it though. Well, that's worked out nice.
He can get out here if he gets straight on the 1 and draws straight back for the 3. The 5's available on the top right. Definitely work to be done though, not perfect on the 6. Cue ball's playing around two rails towards the 7 and the 8.
Well,
we get on the 3.
this time, yeah. So 3, possibly 5 and then the 1. But if I was him, I'd desperately want to take out the 1 here. I think he's still in prime position, but this next positional shot is going to be crucial for him. And unfortunately, I can't tell you whether he's landed nice on the 1 or not. Nope. Well, considering he's missed the putt, I'm reluctant to think whether he had a nice angle on the 1.
Yeah, and might have even been able to develop some angle towards the 7, cheating the right part of the pocket, which is the side of the pocket he missed it on. But again, was in a spot where he could have ran the whole rack and didn't get quite through it. So up to Jakubas to take advantage now.
High, extend.
Yep.
Barely slid that one in, and because he was so thin, he overran position on the 13, which I believe he was playing for. He's still on the 10. He can come around 2 rails towards the 9, or even further towards the 12, 13 if he likes. Don't really see a need to play the 9 on the side here, but looks like he's gonna. It's okay. It's got angle going back up table towards the 13 now.
Seems like he's found his groove a bit, Jakubas. Compared to the beginning part of the match, he's looking way more confident at the table, I would say.
Yeah, getting some table time in, having some positive results. And again, this is big for him. Probably never making the final 2 of a Eurotour, final 32 of a Eurotour before. So we'll see what he's made of in these next couple games. There it is, 6 each after trailing 5-1. Breaks will go back over to Jakubas here for the next 2 breaks. He did have 1 break and run on his last 2 break attempts. Looking to continue that trend here.
Yeah, you were right, Eric. He's not reached the last 32 yet. He has been in the last 64 before. But obviously he wants to improve on that record.
Hit them well. 2 balls going to go down. Absolutely nothing on the opening shot, though. Trapped behind the 1.
That is horror.
You can play off the 3 and play the cue ball back to a similar position. It's likely going to leave a bank on the 10 in that case. You play off the left side of the 1 and try to get the cue ball real close to the 10, but tough to hit that shot perfectly. Tough spot here. I mean, if you could place the cue ball back right where it is, that'd be perfect, but that's a lot harder said than done.
Yeah, it just goes to show how unlucky he was on the break.
Yeah, I kind of had to leave the bank on the 10 here. About the 13. Table's open, so big pot here coming in the match. It's there. He's on the 10. Looks like the 12 is available into both middle pockets. Very little cue ball movement in these last 5 balls. Fifteen's going to be the toughest strike for Coles here.
That's not landed absolutely perfect, has to be said. He could even take the 15 if he wants.
I think he
That's
should.
what he's looking at.
Yeah, come around 2 rails for the 9.
Bit of a stretch for him. But like you said, I like that shot as well. Yeah, back in control.
So want to be over top of the 7 here, and he is slightly. So a little more difficulty in this last 14. Looks like he might just have queuing room around the right edge of the 7. Oh, he's landed up on the 50-yard line here. So a missable 8 for Coles coming. Goes down, he'll be on the hill.
Yeah.
It's there, just.
Do you know what I was thinking? If you've just tuned in, you'd be tempted to say, "Oh, that was a quick one," but I can tell you by doing the commentary with my colleague Eric here on this match, that's literally his normal pre-shot routine. He doesn't have a pause in his backswing, so I was more or less expecting what he just did there. And like you said, it just dropped in, so he's got on the hill first, and I think this is the last of the 2 breaks on Jokubas, his turn, so really needs to convert this one to keep the match alive.
Hits the break really well. Three balls down there.
Yeah, this is a lot better layout, and this time his cue ball wasn't unlucky. Time to get to work.
Yeah, I like starting at the end with the 5-3-7R. The 1 will play okay into the 6. I believe the 6 is available in the left middle.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, cue ball's running into the 9 a little bit here. He plays off the right edge of the 9. He can go ahead.
Yeah, exactly what you were saying. He can draw the cue ball back up table if he wants using the 9. But that also would mean he needs to inject a bit of power. So by doing so, you don't completely have control over the 9.
Yeah, I think staying away from running into the 9 here is a good play. A little bit more test on the pocketing. Nice shot. It's looking okay now.
Can he hold for the 2 ball, you think? It's a
Just
delicate shot
barely, I
here, though.
think. Yeah, if not, he can play it in a way where he has not too much angle and can avoid running into the 9. Nice play, playing the thick part of the pocket there. Staying as straight on the 2 as possible. It's possible the 6 doesn't pass in the left middle. He just took a look at that. If it does, I like playing 1-6 next. But his choice here. He has some angle going to the right that'll play well for the overall run-up now. Pretty straight, so I might have to move the cue ball a little bit more from 1 to 8.
Like we said at the beginning, is a must-get rack for Jakubas to keep his hopes alive in this year's Eurotour 8-ball Predatory Open. So, if we presume he does make these last 2 balls, who's your favorite now, Eric?
Well, I'm always going to go with the breaker in 8-ball, which will be Coles to break. Break's going to turn over in this hill game. Any predictions? Have to say
I think
in a one-game format like that.
I think both players will get a visit at the table. I think that's
Okay.
just been the main theme of this match so far. But here you have it, 7-0, all to play for a place in the last 32. First thing first, Ballas gets the first opportunity, gets to break, and we want to keep a close eye on his cue ball here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure riding on this last break. He's broke average throughout the course of the match. Probably making the ball around 75% of the time. Hasn't scratched yet, from my recollection. Nothing down. Watch the cue ball got kicked into the right middle.
Why did you have to say that, Eric? You just jinxed him.
Of course, yeah. Some kind of kick off multiple balls too. So not only an open table start, a ball in hand start for Jakubas here. 12-14 or 12-10 are a problem for Stripes. 6 is the toughest solid. I don't mind starting with the 6, shooting it up into the bottom right.
Yeah, absolutely. If we are presuming you're taking the solids, then obviously starting off with the 6 that solves that problem right away. And
it does go
what is
past
he
the 13, so I think he's just going to shoot the 3 and then play onto the 6.
Time.
Because you're going to get a fair bit of angle on the 6 here. It's a preference play, nothing wrong with it. The 3 was a little awkward. Just taking care of the 2 toughest balls first here. Rest of the rack's lying real good. You'll have to move from the 1 to the 2. Or even maybe hold for the 2 here and go 1-4. 2-6-1-4. Or only 6-2-1-4.
Yeah, so the 4 and the 5, even the 7, all these 3 balls, they look very inviting to play position on the 8. So really just needs to map out which way you want to go about this.
Yeah, if he gets straight on the 2 here, he's good. If he gets straight on the 2 on the left side, I like him from there. Slightly too far, so he's going to go back to the 4-7-5 pattern here. If he stops the cue ball where he is now, he can get some angle going to the right and play the 2 in the same pocket as the 5.
He's got a slight angle though. But actually that's gonna help him on this shot.
Little straight. If he believes he's too straight, he might play the 2 in the right middle. He is very straight, Arya.
Yeah, but he can, yeah, like you said, he can play position on the 2 in the side, and anything but glued on the rail, you'd make him big favorite, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and just try not to get any angle going to the left off the 2. Slightest angle going to the left, so he's going to have to accept distance here on the 8, and a bit of drama coming in this hill game. One tough pot for Jakubas here. Well, we're going to see what he's made of on this shot. First look at it advancing to a final 32 in a Eurotour event. And you'd want it to be easier than this, I'll tell you that.
It was at one stage 5-1 down, and he's clawed his way back all to 7-0. Like you just said, this 8-ball for a place in the last 32. Can he hold himself together?
Not there.
No.
Yes.
Oh boy. Well, his only saving grace is the stripes aren't all evenly spread, and by the look of things, even the first shot or the opening shot, it doesn't seem to be a straightforward pot on here for Balázs, so he might as well just play safe. Or, well, I think he's taking the 50. Well, no, he's called safe.
One more kicking chance here for Jakubas. 12-10 are still tied up for Koles when he comes back, but he has 5 balls to develop those. So consider it
So he's
really his last chance here.
he's using the mirroring system. It's basically where you take the distance of the object ball to the side rail, multiply that by 2. Oh, we got really close there, didn't he?
Lightest miss. Good try from Jakubas.
Will there be more
an
twist?
underdog now. Could be. Consider him a pretty big underdog, but the 12-10 still has to be developed. He's getting that angle right now.
Yeah, he's got a great angle on the 14 here if he wants to disturb then. Even on the 13. It's not worked out completely perfect, although probably the 15, the cutback on the 15 is doable.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
the
he's
12's
even looking
okay
at the...
too.
Yeah, he is looking at it.
Pretty decently in line now.
He will be bitterly disappointed. Look, you know, the 8-ball he had to win the match was far from easy, as you said. But you know, if he does go on to lose this match, I know he will look back on this and realize he's had pretty much a visit every single rack, bar for maybe 1 or 2. So really, he can't really blame anyone else than himself for not getting to the last 32.
Yeah, he'll put it in as an experience bank. He's a young player, and you can see how much talent he has. Look for him to do good things going forward. He'll have a good mentor over there in Lithuania with Labutis as well.
Well, there you go. Yeah, same thing applies for Balázs. He was 5-1 up, saw his opponent claw all the way back to 7-0, and he still comes out on top. What a drama-filled match we had there, Eric. On behalf of both of us, thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you do follow, subscribe to the channel of Predator. It's called, let me have a quick look, Pro Billiard TV, where you can follow all the matches live and for free. For now, thank you for your time, and we'll be back with the next match shortly.